It is an ongoing project. Oh my gosh, he started talking even before turning the music down? How dare. Hello, 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 and welcome to another one line of code. I am one line. I'm getting Teams messages now that I have started, even though I sent Teams messages. So hi, how's it going? Ooh, such lyrics. Oh man, so I wasn't actually listening to lyrics. Were they good lyrics? I don't know. Oh, as in my fucking. Yeah, let me put my blanket skirt on. Oh no! How is my bot not on? I didn't restart my computer or anything. It took you a bit. All right, my toes are cold. Whoa! Jiminy Christmas, Dugasoft. I'm getting there. Yeah, my bot says it's connected. Dang it. I think that the Twitch API may have changed the length of their... Nice, Clayman. He's probably not here, but I like that. I love this community. Okay, let's try this again. Bang project. My new pretend boss. Why am I only pretend? No, I'm kidding. Ooh. Oh, ow. Okay. Hi. So, hello, glowing? Glow in? Good luck, 0 in. Good luck, Owen. Anyway, hi. Welcome into our channel. If you have not been here before, I normally stream Blazor Blazor cross-platform, multi-platform development, and thank you for the follow, on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then on Fridays, like today, we have Community Day, which Community Days are a place where I invite you, our fellow viewers, to Discord if you want to join me in a voice channel, and we can have a verbal discussion if you want. Otherwise, I tried to spend the majority of the stream just paying attention to chat, talking with you guys. Yes, you can. You absolutely can, Releasy. I think you meant to put the pog face or the troll face, whatever it's called. What was I saying? Oh, we are going to do one thing that we started talking about on Wednesday. It was a serious question. Okay, good. So I will show you that you can. Then that'll be one of our topics. But if you want, you can hop into Discord if you want to join by voice. The thing to keep in mind is that your voice will come through on the stream, which I take all of the VODs and put them on YouTube for public access, so it'll be there. And if you're not comfortable with that, you probably don't actually want to join our Discord voice channel, so just keep chatting in chat if you aren't comfortable with that. Okay, to the desktop. To the desktop, people. So Roy Lisi asked, just Lisi, can you create an Android, iOS, and other things app? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. And the way that you can do that with Blazor, or specifically with Blazor, is by creating a Maui project. And Maui is a glorified UWP app. that has the ability to target multiple platforms like Android, iOS, Mac, Tizen, and Windows, all in one project. And if you wanted to use Blazor as your UI, then you set up this thing called a Blazor Web View, and you feed it your root component. And if your root component is in a separate Razor class library, like mine is, which is right here, then any type of application that you make could use the same UI. So for example, that's the Maui app that's targeting all of those platforms. But I also have a WPF app that is specifically targeting Windows. I have a Blazor WASM application that has a hosted API backend, and I have a Blazor server application. And those are all using the exact same user interface. So the proof is, here is me running the WPF version. So here's the web version, of course. It's currently WPF that's running right here. And if we go to the main page, and the app is not actually running, but it will. I guess we're going to see the WPF version first. So here's the WPF version running in Windows, on Windows directly. Data entry page. Oh, it's going to crash because the API is not running. So let me .NET Watch real quick. So the WPF version still needs a backend, and it's going to be the same backend that I'm using for my WASM hosted. Here we go, here we go. Oh, I turned off my marquee. But here's some information about, some more information about the project. And I guess if you're interested in it, Lowen, which you didn't tell me how to pronounce your name yet, I can walk you through what the app is supposed to do and what it's for, and also what it does, and also saying the same thing over and over in different ways. So this is the app running in Blazor specifically. And this app is the financial management tracker that we've been working on during the stream. I used to be able to stream my day job every day, which was Blazor development, modernizing existing line of business applications, turning them from JSP to .NET. And at the time it was .NET Framework using MVC, and then I went from MVC to Blazor. And then there were some desktop applications that were in VB6 that I moved over to VB.NET, and then eventually to Blazor as well. So fun times. Fun times. Do you not like the music? That's weird. I love this music. I might join Discord to not hear the music. I generally don't listen to music. I don't understand. Okay, so Glowin says, no, type as much as you want. It is glow in. I'm not good at phonetic spellings. So you have the O with the accent. Is that glow? 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 Glow-in. Anyway, I started working as dev last year in October with .NET. Awesome. Awesome. I'm a junior dev currently working in a company, but I'm not allocated in any projects, and so I'm a little idle. Okay, so you're on the bench essentially. I think I would be joining your streams because I'm not currently comfortable starting any personal projects. Sorry for the big text. Yeah, this is a place for you to be able to type as much as you want. That's on topic and respectful, blah, 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 chat rules, etc. But that was definitely on topic and nothing bad there. I'm glad you, or I am thankful. It was very polite of you to be conscious of that. Anyway, so this project, again, financial management tracker, it's a personal project. It's not intended to be anything that's like super massively widely distributed. If you want to take a look at it, you can head to it on our GitHub. And essentially it's a way for you to be able to enter in financial transactions such as buying stuff, making payments to bills from tracked accounts. You get to decide which accounts you want to track. It's not connected to financial institutions or anything. You enter this manually. You enter payments, things where you use money from one of your tracked accounts to pay for something external, deposits, places, transactions where you get money from an external source. I have no idea what that buzz was. Where you get money from an external source into one of your tracked accounts, and transfers where you're moving money between tracked accounts. A meeting? No. No. Just no. All right, Mojo said, I started in October too. I just got my title officially changed to Associate Software Dev last week. That is awesome. Congratulations, says Glowing. All right, so it is Glow. Glowing. Glowing says, congratulations, Mojo. I'm really happy for you. Can you explain to me which responsibilities do you have as an associate software dev? Did you actually say your title? Yeah, junior dev. So I recently, what, a year and a half ago now, transitioned from a private sector. I'm a W-2 employee hired by a contractor who's contracted to do work at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. So I moved from that job as a senior developer to my current position with a consulting agency as a senior consultant. And then I got assigned to a client and have been working with this client for the past year and a half or so. I forget how long it's been. It's been a while. All right, so I will let Lizzie in. And you should be able to hear now through Discord, Lizzie, but let me know if you have any sound issues. Oh, okay, I was like, I don't see the thingy at the top. I only pretend to work here, but I'm hoping to pick up some subcontractor work. Subcontractor work or just sub work? Like you want to work on a sub sandwich or a submarine or a submachine gun. Work when I'm not so green. Mojo was explaining I'm technically in customer support prior to it. We're a small team, so my responsibilities are pretty much everything I have the ability to figure out. This past week, we've been troubleshooting Azure App Services. Sounds like fun. I've been getting into that just a little bit, not too much yet, but I'll get into it some more very soon. Okay, so we got a donkey. And we have a oh, what happened there? Where did my draggable area go? We got a donkey and a close button. Good for us. Oh, that was my message box, not my calculator. So this is our calculator. That suddenly can't work anymore. I've been doing, oh, I got you, Max. I got you, Max. I think I got you. Where is it? Hello, there it is. This is from Max. A donkey for a calculator. Yes, most accurate way to account finances. Truth. So then Glowing asks, Coleslaw, what do you do? Coleslaw learns everything at the same time. Coleslaw learned HTML, JavaScript, CSS, over the past 3, 6, 20 months. I don't remember how long it was, but it was a while. And ready to move on to the next thing. So this just looks like it needs a rebuild. So let's do that. I think what happens with that is when I build for one of the other platforms, such as the Maui project or the WPF project, the SHA hashes get changed for my static files. And so when I'm running my Blazor WebAssembly version, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense at all. Because like I'm building the project as it is, and yeah, I don't know. But a rebuild usually fixes that issue. Mojo said, I'm building a personal yet work-related project so I can learn how to build a full project. Awesome. I do that. Like that was one of the first things that I did, was built my own personal project. In fact, I was working on a website. Yeah, anyway, in order to be able to learn MVC. Amanita, are you actually coming in to the voice channel? Do you want me to pull you in? Are you ready? Would you like to come into the voice channel? Okay, let's try running this again. And Mojo. Just let me know if you guys are wanting to come to the stream room, and I will pull you in. Oh, did I finish? Building a personal. My main responsibility is to add new features to our platform. Lots of Excel files. So right now I'm creating a UI drag and drop Excel files so I can handle and I can then handle and explore elements of the workbook. Cool. By the way, do you know my voice? I think you came into voice chat once, maybe. I can't remember. And thank you so much for the follow, Aries. Don't know if I should be pronouncing it the first part of your name. AOR. Is it actually supposed to be pronounced as part of your name? But real quick, we were just trying. Why is this suddenly broken? Right. We can't run JavaScript because of one of the things that we were exploring is what happened. Index. So I'm going to comment this out for now, just so you can see the original thing. It was a follow. It was AOR_Aries. Oops. Wrong one. Hi. Yay. Okay, so that still works. Here in my state, in Brazil, we don't have so many opportunities as civil engineers. Interesting. Yeah, we have a million opportunities for software engineering. I don't want to like pull Amanita and Mojo into the stream room if they're not ready, but you guys didn't respond to me yet. Are you wanting to go into the voice channel stream room? Oh, cool. Okay. And Amanita is prepared as well. All right. Can we get some sound checks, please?
Sound check 1 2.
Sound checked.
I'm here.
Awesome. I think you two are equalized. I'm the equalizer. So how is it going? We were playing around with browser security stuff on Wednesday, and that was what we were going to explore some today. Does that sound familiar?
What's what is browser security?
So
Yeah.
it
Sorry.
is a way. It's like when you have a web application and you have inputs where users can put text in or whatever they want in, you need to scrub that or verify that it is not malicious stuff that they're trying to enter into the input. Well, in my work application, we have a desktop WPF application where we got flagged by cybersecurity because we're outputting some random string parameters that are random strings that we get passed in from a parameter as HTML, and then that renders on the screen. And so we're getting flagged for that. And I'm like, that shouldn't be an issue because all of the method calls are the ones that are controlling what data goes there. It's not from a user input field. But at the same time, cross-site scripting is still an issue if they're able to modify the values that are getting passed into the method, for example. So we're playing around with that and seeing how it's still a concern for desktop applications. Does that make sense? The answer is 16. Good answer. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, sorry. That does make sense. I was just making sure we weren't talking about TLS certificates because I was about to hop out.
Oh no.
It was a painful 24 hours.
Already bought Christmas lights. Best season. Am I the only one who already is in Christmas mood? Yes, Max. No, apparently not. Glowing's there with you. Are you guys in Christmas mood already?
There's still ghosts on the lawn.
I haven't even made it through Halloween. Yeah, I'm in candy eating mode. All right. Well, you guys are definitely welcome to bring up any topics that you want. I was just mentioning this one because it was what we talked about on the previous stream. Trying to figure out if there really is something that I can do. And I think one of the things that we were going to try was actually I don't really remember what it was. And I can't remember who was telling me about it either. Partner program. I'm a partner.
It's not really something you could do without Microsoft approval, but that's my other current project at work.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Integrating all of the Office stuff into our web platform directly.
Why would you do that, Max? And how far have you gotten with this? Because I know that you were working on it in our previous community day stream.
I think it was two community days ago. Yeah. I had to wait on the subdomain because like Microsoft will only let you discover it from a specific subdomain, the one that you give them, and I had filled out the application and never had the subdomain made. They actually worked a lot faster than I was expecting, but I got the subdomain this week, and it's kind of low on the totem pole, and it's, I don't know, complex for me, so I pretty much just need to start testing out whether or not I have discovered the WAPI.
Can you remind me again what exactly WAPI is used for? You said integrating.
I know what it's used for in this context. It's essentially the protocol for which Microsoft will allow me to get the iframe of said program. But WAPI isn't Microsoft. It's not specific to this one thing. It's just like the protocol they use. But outside of that, I'm still learning.
Okay. It kind of like just from this first sentence, and again, I am terrible at reading when I'm streaming or talking with people because my eyes just go flip, and then letters are now 3D shapes that float in space that don't really have any meaning. But anyway, that said, this sounds like it's a way for you to add Office applications to your web application or just your application in general.
Yeah.
Because I could see using Blazor and somehow using WAPI to put Office stuff in my WPF application.
I guess it's technically just like an API for Office-like products, but because it is called like the web application open platform interface, so it basically has API with 2 extra words thrown in.
Yeah, I really like that there's nothing on this page that spells out what WAPI stands for. At least not at the very top where you would expect it to be.
That's a Microsoft documentation thing, man. I like this whole thing goes into it's like I've come to realize it's made for the person who knows what they're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, this isn't a place where you're gonna learn how to do it.
Right.
Because like after you get accepted for said project or like get approved by Microsoft, they like invite you to a Yammer group, and in that group, everybody's just like asking the same thing. It's like, what do I do next? And I'm like, okay, so there's a documentation error, I think, but it's probably also not big enough to actually build out more.
It's crazy. Yes, so there is a large veil in front of my eyes while I'm trying to scan through this, and it's like I don't even want to look at that. It doesn't look like there's anything useful. I mean, I'm sure there is. There's anything useful in here that would tell me how to use this thing. There's not a first create a new project and then use this connection string to establish your WAPI connection.
It's essentially like the use cases force what I'm doing outside of like where I work, because our use cases, because like we help professors teach Excel or grade Excel. Makes it easier. But the other use cases I saw for it were like for internal Office products. Instead of having it connect to the cloud, like it just connect to like Microsoft's cloud. You can technically host it internally. One of our competitors just integrated Excel into their platform, so now I have to get a step on it. But yeah, I mean, it's just think of Excel for the web, or just like, Office online,
Right.
but to whatever URL you own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That makes sense. Yeah.
But outside of that,
go ahead.
Project structures. I don't even want to get into WAPI or any of that Office stuff. Just like setting up project structures. Is there like an initial way to build something? If say you're like just trying to test something out, but you want it to be scalable. Like how much do you need to know going in first? How much can you change later?
Ooh. I'm trying to come up with a generic answer because almost always when I answer questions like this it depends, and then I throw out all of the factors that it depends on. So let's try to break it down to as simple as you made it, which is you want to make an app that's scalable, right?
Yes. Will it help if I tell you what ChatGPT has told me for the 3 different things I've asked it to help me build? Because it's actually giving me kind of the same layout.
Sure.
So you create the solution, it'll have me build. For the most part, I always ask it for like a Blazor server app and then web API, or a Blazor app and a web API, and then what it has me do is build. It gives it actual names. I think it's like core infrastructure. It's like class libraries, your web API, your UI, and then it always has me include a test a unit test project. That's what it has me do for like initial structure. Is that what you would like when you, if you're going to be creating a new project? I guess if I like went to day one of this project,
Right. And I'll
what
show
did you do?
I'll show you day one. Maybe I'll show you day one. I think this one. Well, if it's day one of this project, it wouldn't have been that. It would have been this one. Right? All right. Just go with that. You. Wait, is it you? Why does this say entitled? It says entitled. Here, financial tracker. Okay, so what I did for this project, as far as my process for creating a new project, the pattern that I typically have followed, well, it's on this project's GitHub too.
Is it would?
Financial. Or do. The one that I do follow. Is that what I said? Okay. Is that I think about first of all, the technologies that I want to use. Well, I guess what is the project? So brainstorm the project or do whatever needs to be done to decide the project. But we're past that point from what you're asking. You know what project you want to create, and you want to know what approach to take for starting off this project. So what I do next is I come up with the technologies that I'm going to use with this based off of what I want the app to do. So what does the app do? Again, that was part of the brainstorming process. So by this point, you should know what the app does. For me, I'm most comfortable with .NET. I want this to be a cross-platform application. So not just cross-platform, but multi-platform. So I know that I want to use stuff like Maui. I love using Blazor, so I'm going to use those technologies. And for my data store, I'm most comfortable with SQL Server. I already have my SQL Server stuff set up locally. I know how to program against it. I know how to use Entity Framework, so I know I'm going to use Entity Framework. So I'm making all of these decisions for what technologies I'm going to use first. Then I go to, all right, I'm going to use .NET, multi-platform. I want Blazor WebAssembly, Blazor Server, so I want web ability as well. So then I start constructing my project structure, which is somewhere over here. And my project structure is typically something that looks like this. Okay, where I have my main UI in its own class library, which is a Razor class library. I have shared models that are used throughout the entire application, and then shared server stuff that's only used on server-side technologies. And then my Blazor server application will use the shared server, which also has a reference to shared. So I'm drawing all of this structure out, and typically this is how I would structure all of my applications. I got my database project, my UI project, my shared libraries project, and then my applications themselves. So this could also include WPF, Maui, they would all be here. And then my tests.
Now that makes sense. Now, did I mess up by going Blazor server with the web API?
No, because Blazor server is, I mean, while it is a server technology, APIs you can access from just about anywhere you have a HTTP client.
Okay.
But if you structure your UI so that it's its own class library, it doesn't matter if you started off with Blazor server. You could switch over to Blazor WebAssembly if you wanted to. You could switch over to the new Blazor model easily because this is separate of the application.
Okay. And by new Blazor model, is that the .NET 8 Blazor web app? Okay. I ran into so many issues with .NET 8. I gave up for a bit.
I wanted to play with it, but I've been so busy.
Oh, Peter's waiting.
He's waiting.
Well,
I don't even have.
Hang out.
Were you ready, Peter?
Hey,
Oops. But yeah, so like I think I was just saying that I was busy. That's all. Nothing special. I was studying for the AI 900. Took it on Tuesday. Passed. Get that. But yeah, so structure wise, you can do this. Like this is just my favorite structure. Period. I don't know. I don't even know if it has a name or anything.
it's mega clean. It's Mr. Clean architecture.
I
By
just
the way,
like it a lot.
Glowen had a real question in chat. What's the difference between Razor and Blazor?
Ooh.
And I gave a sarcastic answer, so go
Aw.
have a quick answer. Hit it out to give a real
Roughly
answer.
2 letters. Okay, so both of them are written in Razor syntax. So a Razor page.cs HTML is something that is rendered on the server and then served as HTML to the client, to the thing that's asking for it. Whereas Blazor is just a UI language. Essentially, it still uses Razor markup, but it is also dynamically modified using C#. So like with .cs_html pages, Razor pages, it's static content once it gets rendered. And then Blazor is still kind of static content but when you render it, that's on a separate process. I'm just abstracting it. I'm not using the actual terms. It's on a separate process, and then it will diff the changes to what's being presented so that only those small portions of your rendered content get updated at runtime, as opposed to needing a full page refresh like .cs_html. I don't know if that was a good anything.
I was gonna say Google it, but like I'm happy you. So
Speaking of, that's what I was gonna do. You mentioned something, Mojo, which was that you had to ask ChatGPT, or not you had to, you asked ChatGPT about how do I structure my new project, especially if I want to make it scalable. And then it gave you, here are some steps to consider. I wanted to share this because I thought it was really cool. I don't know where I could post it, or if I should even share it, but I'm going to anyway because I love sharing information. I got this during one of my work calls. Can I actually pop this thing?
365 Copilot.
Well, yeah, that too. That'd be nice. But still, you need to know how to ask Copilot or any kind of AI questions. I got this suggestion for when you're going to start preparing a prompt that you want detailed instructions for. This is called creating the perfect prompt, so that you tell ChatGPT to be your expert prompt engineer. So the first thing that you do is say, you, ChatGPT, will generate the following sections, and then you tell it what sections it's going to generate. And so you say, give me the best possible prompt according to my request, which I'll provide later. Summarize my prior messages. You provide examples of my communication style. So when you do it, when you give me the prompt that I'm going to eventually feed to you, put it in my writing style, in my voice, and then give us a critique, provide a concise paragraph, give me questions so that we can clarify the prompt. And then in part 2, you say, I will provide my answers to your responses. We'll do this iteratively until we come up with the perfect prompt. Remember, the prompts we create should be written from my perspective, making the request to you, ChatGPT. So I did that, and I went through about 3 different examples because, yeah, for each example, it asked me like 80 questions total before I was happy with the thing to use. And when I copy and pasted the final prompt into ChatGPT, it gave me the exact answer I was looking for with no hallucination.
Nice.
And I was like, what?
Are you using the custom instructions?
What do you mean custom Oh, yes, yeah.
In ChatGPT?
Yes. Yes, I am.
don't know anything for the record.
I'm gonna... What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it prompt my prompt. So I'm gonna feed it what you just put in,
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to tell it to answer those questions for me as well, to see where it
Oh,
goes
yeah,
in
nice.
2 different chats.
Nice. This is what mine is. When you respond, you can be sarcastic, snarky, witty, or any combination of those, but still provide an honest answer in the end. Do not start your responses the same. For example, always starting with, the age-old question of blah. It does that a lot when it's being snarky. Instead, be creative with how you start the response. However, if the chat is of a technical nature in which I am looking for information regarding software implementation, coding examples, or anything else related to software, be succinct and direct with your response. And it honors this. I love asking it questions now because it's so sarcastic.
When I ask it to explain like I'm 5, it gets down on a knee to my eye level and it's like, "Hey, little buddy." I'm like, "That's not what I meant," but okay.
Gets down on one knee, says, "Hey, little buddy," and then hallucinates it after.
Yeah, exactly. So you should be able to use the jump for joy method on... No, that class doesn't exist. Oh, you're right. Instead, you should use the get down on your knees method and pray. That method doesn't exist either. Oh, yes, you are correct.
Yeah, my bad. I'll stop doing that. You're like, well, this is the 4th time in a row. So I don't
But
think
yeah,
it's
so
gonna get
if you
better.
didn't hear though, Peter, Mojo was pretty much asking the question that you started our community day with last week that we never actually addressed.
I don't remember. I
It
have no
was-
memories of anything.
Yeah, completely understand. It was when you start a new project, how do you structure it?
Oh,
Like, what steps?
Are you ready for the hot take?
I am. Are you,
Everything.
Mojo?
Everything in one project.
All right,
One
I gotta
project.
One project. Make namespaces and folders to separate out logic.
Not even
okay,
one
but
solution, just
seriously,
one project.
one CS project. Now that becomes undoable once you have to do like run console apps to do data migrations. All right, split that one out. And you're like, all right, we're running 2 websites. Okay, split those 2 out. Or when I say websites, I mean things responding to HTTP or WebSockets. Like, yeah, sure, split out whatever you need to. Don't bother with shared libraries. Live in filth. And then, all right, then you're allowed 1 shared library.
One shared library.
1 for everything. And you use folders, folder separation. Just, man, by the way, I've never done this because I'm powerless and I lose the argument, but it's the best way to live. Everything in as few as possible. Unit tests, you know what? We actually experimented.
As few as
with
possible is
putting
good. I
unit
like that
tests.
answer.
Unit tests, we have actually moved into a production project, which, yes, that means it shipped test assemblies. But, like, it doesn't matter, right? As long as you're not running it as a console app in production, and even if it does, it's then running tests. But I guess those are kind of dangerous if you have integration tests. Anyway, my whole point is like, just, live in filth. There you go. But no, it doesn't matter. This is one of those things where like the person who cares the most, I'm like, all right, you win this one, and I will care about very different things later on in the project. So I don't care that much
Yeah.
about it.
So like one thing that we can really take away from what you said is keep it simple. So when you do end up eventually splitting out projects, only when it's necessary, kind of thing. So I'll agree with
Or
that.
adding whenever it's necessary.
Because like, is it really necessary for me to have a shared models? Like anything that's shared between the client and server, where they're using the same pretty much data contract model or DTO or view model or whatever you want to call it. So having that as well as a shared client project with only things that are specific to if this is running on a client, WPF, desktop app, MAUI, Android, iOS, whatever, versus the server logic, which is I'm talking to the file system, talking to the database, accessing protected resources, kind of stuff. I say yes because it makes sense to me. I still think it's simple.
Yeah, even though I'm on the exact minimalist side, I don't care is the true answer. So let's keep that in mind. I can live in harmony with others.
And then I guess another question that is pretty important is, if you are using Entity Framework, do you use your models that represent your entities, your tables and your views, as your data transfer objects, as your view models? Or do you actually make a view model that transforms that data to whatever your application is intended to use or produce? And the answer is
I write in YAML. The answer is that a YAML question? Because if so, I can answer it. There you go.
YAML question. How do I deploy to EBS using
I'm still tired of
Azure
looking at
DevOps?
YAML. Just-
Might overcome, but you also might die before you conquer the YAML. So just keep that in mind. Anyway.
I have a question.
50-50.
Yeah, ask away.
How separated is the database from the .NET environment?
What do you mean by a .NET environment?
Does .NET run the database, or is there a separate server?
Separate server.
How? Okay.
Yep. So
.NET
this
stuff you will see as a client. They will have the word client in most of their stuff. They are
Yeah.
a client of the database.
Yes. Exactly. So under the hood, I think this uses Microsoft.SQL.client when you're using SQL Server as your provider. The SQL Server itself lives wherever it lives. It runs on its own database engine, and yeah.
Yeah.
So it's separate. And then this is just a way to connect to it, modify it, communicate with it, interact with it.
You just had them drawn on the same area.
As far as project structure.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are the .NET projects, not the actual database itself. So the database, like this would be my application scope. This would be my solution, essentially. And then I never found my pen. The database would be a line drawn from application, well, actually from somewhere down here to an external box. That's my resources. So that would be a database server, for example. Here you are. Please. Yes. Mouse drawing for the win. Database. And I'm going to draw the database symbol. Are you ready? Oh. That looks like a database, right? This. Either database or poop.
If you don't know what that is, it's on you.
Okay, anyway, so yeah, database would be a completely separate thing. Database client or connector or whatever you want to call it would be part of the solution. .NET.
And multiple comments. Gilgamesh from like 30 minutes ago.
I don't even have
joke
chat
about-
on screen.
Get on these and pray. Hilarious joke, Gilgamesh, from 30 minutes ago. Duca, or pure Duca Soft, says that font is awesome. Y'all know what that means
It
when
is
I say
font
pure
awesome.
Duca Soft. And then we got a new comment from Rolisi. I was thinking, how do you host your C# web apps? Full on VPS question mark? Let's see,
don't.
where are you hosting?
You don't.
And then the last one's Coleslaw, saying it would make a great poster. I don't know. I think he's talking about your poop drawing. So that would make a great poster. For some reason, being a carpenter is relevant to the fact that the poop drawing would make a good poster. That's how I interpreted it. I might have been a little wrong.
I like it though. So I will answer at least for myself where I normally host, and by me I mean the companies that the sites, the clients that I worked for and moved their stuff to the cloud. I put their stuff on AWS in an EC2 instance. So full Windows server with access to all of the resources, because it was a pretty much lift and shift straight from our on-premises to cloud, and it was almost mirroring what we had on premises, and it was easier to set up that way. If I were to redo it now, I would probably have every single one of the web apps be their own Elastic Beanstalk, since we're still going to be on AWS, be their own Elastic Beanstalk application within the same environment, and then the database would be an RDS resource, or databases, I should say, because it is so much easier to maintain if we let them take care of all of that. And then of course the data, our file server stuff would be S3, but I don't know how to work with S3, so I never did that. If it was going to be Azure, I think they would be app services. Is that right?
Services are perfect for ASP.NET Web Apps, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm being triggered, but go on.
I'm actually curious. Hey, when we get invested in your problems, we have to know how it's resolved. That's the price you pay, because we're not being paid.
Okay, well, I'll let him finish. I'll tell you our current problem that we're just kind of hoping goes okay for the next week.
Services is perfect.
Yeah, so again, if it's a static app, then you got a million choices, because static can be hosted just about anywhere for pretty close to free, including GitHub pages. Yeah. Okay, I'm finished.
So our current problem is a fun one, because we haven't made any changes on our end to cause this. And so essentially we're getting basically if you upload a file too big, which used to be fine, like 12 megabytes was fine, it won't accept it. We get an error that says the exceptions that there's not enough storage, and it's going through it's going to a temp directory. Well, it's going to a temp directory, but we can upload 3 4 megabyte files. We can't upload 112 at
It's
once.
weird that the message that you get is not enough storage for that. That's really weird. As opposed to file exceeded maximum file size, I think is the one.
Right.
One isn't allowed by the file system, one isn't allowed by the application.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'll have to check the exact code.
And the only reason I'm familiar with that one is because we have I used to work on a document management system where they uploaded PDFs of over 200 megs. Yeah. And since we're hosted on an EC2 instance, that means that I'm running full IIS as well. So I had like 6 different places that I had to configure allowing large file uploads. So I don't know how that's going to differ for you, though.
So, I mean, like I said, it used to work fine, and we haven't. It's hard because this doesn't always happen, and it's very hard to. Like, you shouldn't have an Excel workbook that's over 4, really.
Over
by
4
the time
megs?
you start getting, for an Excel workbook, like it's always pictures. It's
Can
always
you
pictures.
upload 5 files, all 4 megabytes each, totaling more than 12 megabytes?
Yeah. Like, the only files that are not being accepted are over a certain size, but we're getting tons of submissions daily. So I mean, it's not that like we ran out of storage. So everything in Azure is, like, says it's fine. my original question to Peter like a few days ago was because like I've actually had something happen to me in Azure on like my Linux server where I had a log file just going on the fritz, I guess, and I had my root directory was partitioned to be X size, like it was 2 gigs. And at some point, like I just lost the ability to even access my computer because my root directory filled up. However, if I don't know, it's just going into temp storage in the app or to a temp directory in the app that gets cleared every day. But even right, if we clear it right now, still can upload a 12 megabyte file.
They can?
No,
Can't.
no.
Okay, okay.
So we can't even replicate it on local or dev, and
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's weird. So like in my head, I feel like it's I don't know. In my head, I want to say like there's somewhere in the act of copying a file over, but my concern is that this numbers might be getting smaller over time, and it's just like when the copy's in process, like it has an issue, but we haven't been able really to figure it out yet.
So I guess a couple questions are: where is this being hosted? Like, I mean,
Azure App Service.
Okay,
Oh,
app service.
Sure,
Okay.
perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Don't forget.
And so then the files are they being routed directly to whatever your file storage solution is to, or are you somehow trying to read them into memory in the app service and then save them out?
We do try copy file. I think we do like the copy file method from like the system. So we copy it over. Oh, I think we're just copying it into the apps directory.
I'd ask when did it start, and was there an update around that time? Just as one question.
I agree, but magic
My-
of cloud, no one ever knows, right?
So, well, our TLS our TLS issue was that we just didn't pay attention to when they announced they were ending support for 1.0 to the key vault, and it finally rolled out to our server. For this one, outside of our certificate, no, they're outside of like changing one line to say use TLS 1.2. There hasn't been anything.
Many solutions for you, by the way. Number one is, yeah, definitely find out where the file is supposed to be stored, because there might be different permissions and whatnot requirements for like copying to the app folder might suddenly be forbidden. Honestly, there's like a .NET method called get temp file or something like that. I forget exactly what it is, but
Temp directories work a little different.
Well,
sometimes.
Okay, so we aren't using the Azure App Service temp directory. We copy it into a folder we call temp.
Okay, you call it. Okay.
Probably should use temp, honestly, but I mean, or their temp, but whatever works. Which obviously isn't working. I would
It's not
just say
working for files of a certain size because it works for 2
Small
megabytes.
files.
Yeah.
I can give you the cloud solution, which is just to upload to blob storage.
That's
They
what it's
have
called,
all
blob
sorts of
storage.
Azure blob storage, Azure storage blob. I forget exactly what they call it.
No, I
Run
think you're
framework,
right.
so
It was just like I'm so familiar with AWS. I'm like S3.
Also, one brought up a very good point, and I was trying to say the same thing, which was make sure you know where the file's going. If it's going to 2 different places in your whatever, that's maybe bad.
Or if
We'll
it's
also
trying to read
say-
it to memory as well, because that's what's
Yeah,
probably
memory.
getting filled.
12 isn't a lot though, like 12 megabytes.
You're right,
But
but
you
this
know-
is an app
but-
service, so I don't know.
Depending on what your maximums are, I will say there are various streaming stuff in .NET that you're going to have like 4 bugs. You're going to love debugging those because streaming is impossible to decipher. I might be wrong. I'm always wrong, but you know what I'm saying. .NET streams,
Yeah.
like you can, instead of taking all the content at once, you can just take a stream and stream it to blob storage. I think that's what we do in various places. It's very complicated. It's very
This should
hard to
be what
test
this is.
locally. But, oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, 2 gigabytes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I'm telling
2
you, those
gigs.
files are massive.
Wait,
And they could be up. Well, yeah.
2 gigs is 32-bit, or for memory.
I think that's 31 bits, right?
Well, sorry. Like
Oh, you're right. I'm saying
we run into out of memory exception every now and then.
really?
One thing we've considered is just swapping over to 64-bit. But we don't know. We haven't looked into like where things start breaking if we were to just hit that switch.
You actually do like Microsoft Office stuff. This is like the one thing where 32-bit versus 64-bit might actually matter. Good luck.
There's another
Love
place.
it.
And it's in the app that I'm working on with these guys over here.
So I will also say I posted in the Discord one thing. There was a lazy Microsoft forum post where they talked about how to clear out your temp folder. I will also say, like, if you're storing it in your temp folder, why not delete it from your temp folder? Like
He said that.
We run a web job once a day, but for like we've been able to process 20 megabyte files in the past. So my concern is like, why did the numbers shrink? And then is it still shrinking to the point where we're going to get to the point where like 400 kilobytes won't work? Yeah.
I think y'all should. I would say try clearing out the temp folder. I did say originally, like, go find the PowerShell console that you can log into your website,
Hate it.
the Kudu console or whatever.
Yeah.
And figure out a way to figure out free disks and how many drives are attached, all that good stuff. The idea is like, y'all are storing. My gut says y'all are storing the file somewhere, or there was an accumulation of files, or maybe code deployments. Maybe your code deployment is suddenly giant. By the way, our build agent started failing because we were using more than 20 gigabytes during our build. 20 gigabytes.
So
that's how much agents
I think we
have by
might be
default.
getting pretty close to that.
The first thing Azure support for $100 told us, and it may have been turned on because we were dealing with them last week. They recommend us turning off FREB. I forget what FREB, failed request tracing.
Don't know what that is.
But again, it's weird that this only happens of a file of a certain size. So like it's somewhere in like the want to copy it over before. Yeah. Like I can do 10 2 megabyte files. I just can't do like one. Last I checked, like a 9 didn't go through. And so
you're gonna have to pull a few pieces out.
Okay.
Take a look.
Yeah, and you might be right that it might be something in the application or the, let's call it app service stuff that is preventing y'all from suddenly doing large files.
I don't know if
but
app functions
somehow it's possible. I'm always wrong. Don't forget that. I'm always wrong, but my third or fourth idea or 10th idea will be solid. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get it. I don't know if app functions or whatever it is you're using triggers have this attribute for them. This is an API controller, but request form limits. If you're even submitting your uploads as form posts, essentially, then you might be able to use this attribute.
I mean,
help.
Might have introduced
Okay.
the attribute, although the error message he's saying doesn't sound like it. But
No,
like,
yeah, the error message really sounds like the disk itself,
Storage.
like Lisi or
I was looking for secret ways to what's it called? Secret ways to wipe out your app service environment or plan or whatever you're running on, and see if you could just like, or like, hey y'all, we're gonna have 10 minutes of downtime. You wipe it out and then start fresh and see if that fixes it. Because there should be a way to like completely start fresh and see if that is a problem.
that's what I was gonna shoot. I
You can
don't
maybe
think we
make
did
a
that.
second one.
He's like, I
I
was
was
thinking of
gonna-
doing that. I forgot though.
No, like yesterday, because it was during the day, and that's when like our users are most active. It's during school hours, and we were just like, there's restart, and then there's like restarting, where you like shut down the entire service. Like when we hit restart in our normal method, it takes all of like 30 seconds. But I think what we wanted to do was do it where it like shuts down and starts back up.
I don't think either one of those are gonna help because I don't think it messes with the disks, unfortunately. By the way, app services is running under the hood IIS on Windows. And
So then
it
there
runs,
is
I think-
also a setting in IIS that is request limit.
But is it something I can control? Because it's like app service. A lot of the solutions I read that had very similar exception messages said like, oh yeah, go change this thing in like the registry, but we can't. Like we don't have that access.
Yeah, you don't want to go that deep. Or you shouldn't have to go that deep. You'd want to be cautious.
So, by the way, I just lost internet, blipped. But
When
Good thing
when
your
I
iPad still
know
has internet.
when I know,
Yeah.
y'all will know. My Azure support's very fun to work with.
they all are. Azure is somewhere on the positive side.
With the TLS issue, they're like, oh yeah, just like upgrade your application to 4.7.
Yeah,
And we were like,
it's easy.
oh yeah, let's just do that over like right now.
Yeah, this is gonna be like finding a hole in a tire. Like first you go over the whole tire looking for the hole, and then when that fails, you stick it in water and see where the air is coming out of. Just you're gonna have to dig, is what I'm saying, into these different pieces.
Yeah, and in Linux, like I know I can see what's available for drive store. Like I know the Linux route I would take. I just
Yeah.
Azure, I don't know. It's just a different beast. I don't necessarily like it.
That's why you got to Google it. You got to hold your nose and then Google and then
These
pinch your
guys are
nose.
giving me for loops and stuff, and I just I'm like, there's just like one command in Linux that I could run and a couple of properties.
This is a problem with like Windows doesn't have all the CLI tooling that, like, I know what you're thinking. I've just learned it. I think this year was df-h is disk free, I think, and it just gives you a good printout of all the disks.
All you need. Yep.
Wait.
I will also say on the Windows side, like, we're still used to like GUI environments where you can see things, and even everyone's all anyway. What's up?
No. I was really interested in that because one of the things that happened recently was I needed to find out how much disk space was being used on those EC2 instances with the volumes, EBS volumes. I think they're called EBS volumes. And the only way that I knew how to do it was to log into the actual machines and look at it via Windows.
ChatGPT says get PS drive, but it also makes me do all of this other. I have to do math in here.
I will also say you're running on the Kudu console, which may not have full access to everything, and just understand it's the Kudu console. And hopefully they locked it down a little bit, but they probably, so you actually may not even be able to see everything, but Anyway, good
By
luck.
they, do you mean Microsoft or our sysadmin, quote unquote?
What did I say?
Like
Did
who
I
locked
say
it
Andy?
down?
Oh, the lockdown by the fact that you're running an app service, and
Okay.
sometimes they host a bunch of app services on the same physical machine. They probably
Yeah.
originally did.
No, it's locked down because I think when we were giving up on the TLS thing, we tried doing the registry command, and it was like you can't do that. So
Yeah.
it's locked down to a certain extent.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. Stream to blob storage will fix your problem, but then you'll have new problems. So there you go.
Yeah,
Back
and
pocket. Your back
the
pocket.
current concern is like there's a couple of midterms that we know are happening this weekend, so we're just kind of watching it, but we're looking into it and we're watching it, but I'm scared that this weekend's gonna be a mess.
Yep, such is the DevOps life. And it's
Is
good
it-
that y'all are devs that are managing your own system, and that's good. That's actually healthy, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I mean I have fun when when things start working. It's just if this was Linux, I would have like a list of things I know how to check and know where to check, and like for instance, when you're working with virtualization and you have drives mounted, there's a term for it on the Linux side. When you like map a drive where it is a replica of another drive, I can't remember.
Assembly?
Kind of like when Docker with the Docker file, or Docker Compose file, you say like, hey, like this drive is this drive.
Mounting a volume in Docker.
Yes, but when you're mounting virtual LVMs, ooh.
I actually don't have much experience, believe it or not, with certain things, so you're gonna have to explain it to the rest of us.
Okay, so I run Proxmox at home, and I make like for LVM something volume. It's a virtual like drive almost. So you can limit the size. You can give it a certain size. And I know I have to mount that into my virtual machine, but when I do, it feels like it acts differently when I check it with like df-h. Like Linux gives you so much information in such a concise manner, and I'm just looking at this code for what ChatGPT says I need to do, and it's a whole bunch of math.
See, because the real Windows answer is like, well, open Windows Explorer and click on my computer, and then you'll see. That's honestly kind of real. Like
Yes.
As long as you're dealing with physical Windows servers or VMs of Windows servers, that works most of the time. So go do that. And yeah, I'm not saying it's the best. I'm just saying it's what we do.
Yeah, or install some kind of SSH host or something on your OS, on your Windows OS.
That's an interesting idea. Doesn't WSL know about it? I'm gonna type DFH.
Can I put WSL on the? I'm not.
Nope, you cannot. It does know about. Just don't run it. It's too much stuff in there. Abida says, "Howdy, y'all." We're reading chat before 10 minutes elapses.
Yeah, before I even see it anyway.
A logical volume
timestamps
manager. That was the name of it. But yeah, just virtualization gets fun, but it gets funky when you start getting into these issues.
There is no such thing as timestamps, that's why.
Is TTS playing?
Oh yeah, my TTS, the one that's reading chat out loud.
Oh, really?
Sounds a lot like Peter.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have a.
It's called Descript, where it can synthesize your voice.
All right. Well, what are we talking about?
Donkus.
I've got a list of do's and don'ts for Linux servers.
And you got a
Don't.
shout out.
Yeah, pretty much what Peter said. Just don't.
No, it's all good. I don't know. Anyway. It's a comfortable silence. It's a comfortable silence.
I do like everything you're doing here. One lion.
Oh, what? What am I doing? I'm not doing anything. on
This
purpose,
whole
am I?
project, all the
Oh.
numbers, all the buttons.
You mean the calculator? I just broke the calculator just now. Now it doesn't drag. Oh, duh. I know why it doesn't drag. Drag. But yeah, the financial management tracker is pretty fun. I was going to comment on your statement, Mojo. I was going to say comment again about how you really only have fun when it starts working. I kind of like when things are broke. It's super duper frustrating, but my personality type works well with frustration. And
I enjoy the chaos, and I will spend hours till the morning, 5 a.m. if I need to, like on my way to fixing it. But like when I can't even like get that first step in into the like or into the right direction, that's where it gets. That's what I've been dealing with app services specifically. It's just like I don't even think I'm making progress and don't know where to go. So
yeah,
when
so you feel stuck.
yeah
Like you're
when I was
spinning
like
your
testing
wheels.
pipelines automatically deploying to the app service, made a ton of progress, and then it said it deployed onto the app service itself, and I realized I didn't know how to point the app as like how to get the Blazor UI as to show up when I just access that one link. That makes
Well, like I didn't fully follow, I guess, but I think I can kind of relate because I mentioned this in passing, but I was just trying to figure out how to deploy to EBS from Visual Studio to an Elastic Beanstalk. And it was really easy in the past. You download the AWS toolkit and then you right click and publish to AWS Beanstalk. And then it asks you for your login. But now there's like a different process, and I was so confused, and it took me like 8 hours of trying to read through stuff, try things, and it's like, no, well, now you have to use the Server Explorer and connect to Server Explorer, something Explorer, and then connect to AWS that way using access code. I'm like, oh, now that that's done, then use publish to AWS. Create a new EBS if you want, or use an existing. And it was just really confusing, and I was frustrated, and I was like mad at it. But then I was still having fun, and it's really weird.
So are you like, this is how we do it, if I'm understanding you correctly. Are you publishing from Visual Studio?
Yeah. So
Yeah, see, that's how we do it. And I was just like, in my side project, I was just trying to commit, push, have it go through the pipeline, and then
that's
deploy.
gonna be my next step.
So with the publish, I think it's the publish aspect. Like I've only worked on things that like somebody else is publishing. So in my like original, I guess like in the problem that I was running into, on localhost, you're never worrying about the URL. You're never worrying about like when it's on that app, how does the app know how to point, how to say, hey, like use the Blazor UI as the UI when anybody comes to this URL. And I got everything through the pipeline after too many hours. It was successful. Every time I would hit push, like I'd watch it go. I had a blast. And then I open up the app and it's just like it's that app service screen that's just like, now deploy your project. I'm like,
I did.
I thought I did.
And then you trailed off.
I'm
oh.
distracted, but I keep posting different things to look at. If you get your Kudu console, you got to look at this file called user.ini or whatever. I forget what it is. Anyway, just go look at the 2 links. Both answers are your problem. I'm joking because only one of them can be your problem, but more likely neither will fix your issue. But just FYI. Just FYI, I have more things to try. I am serious when I say, like, I am good at brainstorming ideas for what's going wrong, and then all of them will be wrong, but I will just proceed, unashamed. Like, that idea was completely wrong, but let's just keep going. So, yeah, there is something in Kudu. It should not be set, but you might be surprised.
I had an experience yesterday, a pair programming experience again, with our junior developer, and that was one of those. He has a similar mentality to what you just described, Peter, where he'll just throw out things. He'll be like, so I don't really know how this works, but have you tried this? Have you thought about this? And even though they're kind of off the wall, they're still really like, they help me to pick things out of them. And it's like, we could take a part of that. And so, like, our splash screen, there's an issue with web view control, and it's just the way that web view control works in WPF, where if you don't display it at least once, the web view control will not initialize. So your main window has to pop up even if you're doing a million tasks in the background and you have a splash screen and you don't want your main window showing. So I came up with, since it needs to pop up anyway, let's just make our splash screen in Blazor inside of that web view control, so that our main window is our splash screen, so that the web view control can initialize, we can get the sizing information, and then resize main window once it's done loading. That's what I did, and we didn't like it because that means the main window starts up with a blank screen at first, and then it flashes, and then all of a sudden we have a splash screen looking thing, and then it resizes the window all janky, and it was just not a very good approach. So we found out how we can essentially use the splash screen and then load main window behind it. We just made it really, really tiny, and it's just covered by splash screen. It was a really good approach, and it was just from him throwing out random ideas that were sort of close. But yeah,
No,
It's
I
not
love to
getting some
hear that
goodness
because
in
I'm
there.
that guy.
I loved it. It was a great time to me. I hope I didn't annoy him though.
But I'm also here
No,
because
we can't
Windows
do that
development
because
is hard.
Sorry, say that louder, Peter. I just want to make sure I heard.
Windows development is hard. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh,
I honestly believe that harder than web.
unnecessarily hard.
I'm not gonna. Hey, I'm just saying it's hard. I'm not.
well, like, I mean, we're supporting Windows 10 and Windows 11, and they want rounded corners in the app. So you get that for free with
Wonderful.
Windows 11. And in Windows 10, you have to use the Windows API. And that doesn't work on all versions of Windows 10. Like 16.05 and before you have to use Windows Chrome, and it's terrible. It was not fun to figure that out. And then when you do use Windows Chrome with a web view control, you lose your border for being able to resize the window. So it's like 1 to 2 pixels wide. It's bad.
It's beautiful.
Windows.
Well, I'll show it. No, I
This
won't,
is-
because I'm not using
You're
Windows Chrome.
keeping. Oh, just leaving it unsaid. That's good. That's
I'm
healthy.
I'm so
Tell
upset.
me.
365 Copilot's right around the corner, and
Yeah.
I think Copilot's going to be Windows 11 only. But on my personal machine, I can't upgrade because hardware issues. Well, like
Yep.
it's not too old, but it's just it doesn't have that one BIOS security feature because that was the next generation,
The TPM
like Star
chip.
Trek. Yep.
I mean TPS report. Yeah, same thing with this thing. See, it's a mobile studio. It's stuck on Windows 10.
Now I'm not gonna be able to use AI. You know.
Correct.
Ever.
Oh.
But anyway, this is I think I got to the point where you were asking the question on what am I going to use for that part of it. Dang it. API. Right click. Publish to Elastic Beanstalk is what I used to use. Thank you, President. Not sure. Missed the first hour and a half. That's because I didn't actually manually paste in the message into Discord since the bot isn't working. Wait, do I really still have... No, I don't. I was going to say, do I have my credentials on this machine somehow? From VS 2019? I do. My credentials are still on this machine. That's crazy. So anyway, yeah, this is how I used to deploy, and it was really easy to just pick from the list, pick my this thing, and then I couldn't get that to work because I couldn't get logged in and I couldn't figure anything out. And then it's like, you're supposed to use publish to AWS. So then I tried that, and then there were a million things that I couldn't figure out, and it was just confusing, and I was lost. But now that it works, it's super easy. The end.
That's
I
what
have
I'm
nothing.
hoping happens.
I could deploy this app to AWS right now if I wanted to. That's cool.
I feel you, Duco. We're all stuck on Windows 10.
Not sure if I'm unhappy or happy about it, he says. Ow. That was loud.
I'm back and
Do you guys know what this is? Oh, you're stepping away, Peter?
I did, but no, I'm already back. All right, you're asking what is this? I'm reading cannot be loaded. Let me zoom in.
Like I know how to allow it. I know how to allow it to run, but why is it suddenly trying to run profile.ps1? I haven't looked for this. I would.
Oh, I know your issue. It's PowerShell and Windows.
Set execution policy. I do.
I know
this
how to
every
do that.
time.
Yes, I know how to do that.
Then
But
do
do
it.
I want to run this? I have no idea where this came from.
Well, I mean, find that file. It's are
Yeah.
you I_am_? Is that your
That's
username?
me. I am listening. Is my
So
little
yeah,
thing.
go look at it and hope it doesn't have any leaked secrets in there.
Yeah. I was just wondering if you guys knew where this was coming from off the top of your head, because I can definitely do research. I can figure it out.
It's like a bash RC. It's like your init file every time you launch a PowerShell.
Oh,
It just
It's
it
just why
looks
would that
for
suddenly
files
want
in
to
certain.
run?
so no, it's not trying to run. So anytime you open up your terminal,
Yeah.
it loads like your user profile, quote unquote.
That's basically
And
what it is.
there's an error in that. So I think every time you open up PowerShell, you should see that. No matter. I don't think it'll matter if it's in
Apparently, it's my mini Conda.
Visual Studio.
It's my mini Conda installation.
Oh man, mini Conda. What a
Yeah,
visual
Python and Windows is another thing that I
Yep,
No, I
get
was
it.
not playing with LangChain these past few days. Why do you ask?
I have a serious take, which is at some point you just load WSL, and even then, at some point you might have to jump to like a full VM or
You
what's
know,
it called? Full
I'm
Or-
interested in knowing how that works. That would be really cool.
So anyway, set execution policy. I will also
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
could you open
yeah.
terminal and see
Yeah, we
if
just
it
saw it.
happens?
yeah.
Okay, it happened there too.
Yeah, I
okay,
was about to
so
do it.
it's consistent. So do the set. It's set dash execution policy. by the way, this is the same as like piping a script from the internet and running it. Like you're piping words from us from the internet and just running it.
Just randomly, but no, I'm used to running this because we need to do this for running our install scripts, and I only do it on process. What is it? Dash dash.
It's you could say, what you want to do?
Dash
You want to
scope.
be limited?
Yes, I do.
I just said it for the machine. All right. So this is
No.
why you gotta never trust people like me. But I think remote signed is what they say. Yeah, execution policy is remote signed.
But I use process.
Well, you set the scope, but you still haven't set.
Oh
the
yeah. You're
required
right.
thing.
You're right. I needed to
Remote
do
sign.
dash execution policy. You're right.
Which, by the way, my actual answer is unrestricted, but that's a whole different. Don't know.
Oh, and I was gonna be like, how do I even execute this?
So you said this only sets this execution policy for the process.
Yes.
Um,
Interesting. So now it's trying to run Miniconda every single time I open my PowerShell?
how about this? I have a solution. Rename it to broken underscore profile.ps1, and then we can ignore the whole issue. And then when you need Miniconda again, you just rename that file back to profile.
Well, no,
PS1.
I use Anaconda prompt. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No. I will also say, by the way, I love what is it? Posh Git by mostly Keith Dolby, and it's a great Git prompt to tell you where your status is. Like, you have this many change files. It's really useful, but it also like my PowerShell's prompt takes a solid like 5 to 10 seconds to
Oh
load.
jeez.
So I've got a few things loading in there. You might actually, yeah.
Is the main concern that this message just started popping up?
Yeah, but I mean I did reinstall Anaconda or Miniconda, so
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense.
Okay.
We got to the bottom of it. We understand why there is a profile PS1 now, as
Yeah.
before he did not understand why.
Yeah, that's a lot more, or a lot less concerning than
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Like I thought it was that concerning, but again, I hadn't really looked into it because like if I'm doing a build and my builds on my dev machine take 5 minutes, then of course I'm going to be busying myself with other things, and I just happen to do stuff like playing with LangChain to try to train my own model. Or I guess tweak my own model. I am really, really interested in that. That's something I could probably talk about for 8 hours, but I am not going to drive this conversation to that. So let's move somewhere else.
Okay. What
There's
is the
Python and
secret
Excel.
ingredient in this financial tracker?
It is using Blazor in its separate Razor class library, so I could take this UI and put it anywhere. That's the
Okay.
secret sauce.
I will say the secret ingredient is love.
Love.
Got that.
True.
There you go.
I will not refute that.
That's the secret ingredient.
Also, the other fix, if you didn't want to change a security policy, they say in an Anaconda prompt you can run.
Right. Yep.
a few
And
things.
that's what I prefer doing, is using Anaconda prompt. Definitely. Prefer doing, like I've been doing this for a long time. This is my 3rd tutorial thing on it. Actually, this is my first project that I'm trying to do for myself. And it is to set up repos, git, ID. Private GPT. Have you heard of that? Me either.
Nope. But are you using the API?
The base here is my environment that I'm currently using for Anaconda for my Python stuff. Sorry, I was answering Lisi. Say that again.
Oh, no, I haven't heard of private GPT, but does it just
Ah.
use the chat?
It does
GPT API?
not. what
Oh.
you do instead is you download a large language model, a supported large language model from Hugging Face, and you can fine tune that model with your own content essentially, and then run it locally on your machine.
Simple question
Oh.
about the prompt. There's the word base with parentheses. Does that ever change? Is that a dynamic
Yeah.
prompt or
So
Yeah.
what does that
conda
mean?
activate private.
Just virtual environment or the environment?
Yeah, virtual environment.
So this is the name of the virtual environment, the Python
Yeah.
virtual environment. That
Yep.
was the question from chat, which I am on top of. Royalissi, which I will call Roland.
Lisi. Oh,
Roland.
Roland.
But the real answer is, what does that even mean?
It means that
Well,
all
it
of
means-
my packages that get installed for Python are only applied to this environment. So
Is
when
private GPT free?
Yes. The GitHub. So again, this is something that I'm just testing out. I haven't actually been able to get it to successfully run, but I'm going to be training it on my... I told you guys that I'm running. Like over the past 10, 15 plus years, I've been putting together ideas for a book. And now I'm like, my idea is to feed this thing all of my separate, disparate ideas that I've put together and ask it questions like, when does this event happen? Or what is the overarching idea behind this segment? What was I thinking 10 years ago when I wrote this, pretty much?
Interesting.
Yeah. So when I tried to use it, that is using, oh yeah, first pip install requirements, something like that, .txt. So when you do this, then it's going to install all of the packages needed for this project specifically, but in a way that it won't affect any of your other environments. So I can have different versions of the same packages running here. It's kind of like a solution where this thing has its own versions of your NuGet packages versus installing it globally, which means that everything uses the same version of whatever. I'm calling them packages because I don't know what they're really called.
Does anyone remember the global
they're
assembly cache in
packages.
.NET?
Yes.
Man, this is giving me nightmare. Like I understand virtual environments and it's because I've used the global assembly cache, which was a thing we did by default a lot in the past. Anyway,
So Lacey, to create an environment, first of all, I'm using Miniconda. I don't know if it's the same across other, I don't even know what this is called. Python helper environment things. You just do conda create and then name it, whatever. And then it gets created in your user profile. Wherever. I'll just go ahead and create it so you can see it get created. And then you activate it. Conda create environment. Name.
oh, it's something. It's interesting. It's something, that's for sure.
It's I mean, I completely understand it. Like I understand. I, as somebody who's had like multiple packages over different environments, like not, but also like learning why I needed to do that through headaches. No, it makes sense completely for me.
And I am very green at this, by the way. I'm just regurgitating the things that I recently learned. That's all. I couldn't fully explain how it sets up this virtual machine. I mean, it just looks like it's going to save all of your settings and packages and everything to this location. And then anything that you run when you do Python, I'll show this next part, private GPT. So like if I, go ahead.
It's a little bit easier to understand when you open it up in Visuals. If you had like two projects in Visual Studio Code, or like there's a visual like element to it, and it shows you like where all the files are, and you could do that here, but like you don't want to do that in the command line really. but when you see like the V and V folder across two different projects that you may be working on like simultaneously, then like you understand like how everything's just kind of like just right there and nowhere else, and how it's all stored. I was like automating a lot of spreadsheet stuff over the weekend with Python.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm
It
still
was-
very
it was something.
new to it. Like I can explain what this thing supposedly does, and you'll watch mine crash. But you pretty much give it some unstructured text, either PDF, not either, because you can choose from multiple. You know what? I'll just open code. You can open multiple, or feed it multiple document types, so text, CSV, PDF, and other things, as long as it's supported by one of the packages that you're using to, what are these things called? To parse it.
Interesting.
To
So
ingest
what
it. Here. So all of these
No.
loaders are what's currently supported when you just clone the project and you do the pip install requirements. So
What about
go
the
ahead.
ones that are not there when you just clone it? Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, maybe I could make a use of it, but I don't see Excel workbooks.
Like if you want to do XLS, then you just find some Python package or whatever these are called
okay.
that can ingest it.
They are called packages, by the way.
Okay,
so
good.
You are right on that.
I will
Yeah.
stop saying it that way from now on. Then I would just
No,
say
you are.
packages.
There's. I mean, is that what they're called in?
Well,
In .NET,
they
yeah.
look like classes, but they would come from a package. Like you would install a package which provides a class.
Yes, I I ran into something this week. When I was like going through Python stuff, like higher level Python stuff. Well, sorry, higher level than what I learned with Python, which was just basically scripting. I wanted to call it programming or software engineering, but I tried using like classes and I hated it.
Aw, I love it.
All right, I have a pop quiz. Pop quiz. What is NPM? What do those letters stand for?
Node package manager?
Or NuGet. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's no.
No.
So y'all got it perfect, because do you call it NPM if you're anyway? So you blew that up. I'm sorry.
Aw, sorry, NuGet package manager.
No, it-
Better.
It's messed up. That's terrible. All right, well, that didn't work out. I was trying to trick you.
I will be honest, as somebody who came like into .NET, the .NET environment, my first like original thought when I like ran into NuGet is that what NPM has stood for this whole time?
Right, yeah, I definitely, my brain was like, oh, that's what NPM is, and .NET is the only one that really uses NuGet.
That's what I found out over time.
Yeah. He'll be here all week. Yes. Bye, I mean, I should have crashed by now. No, I didn't. Interesting. This may take some minutes. Not a few.
Can
a
anybody
couple.
explain XML? I can explain everything underlying a spreadsheet because it's all XML, but
Mhm. Or at least XMLX. XMLS, whatever. XMLS.
well, no, it's just like XML. Like if you were to open up all the individual components of like how everything is stored in a spreadsheet, those are all just XML files.
Or that's not what I meant to say. XLSX files
Is the
are.
file type.
Yeah,
but
the extension. But regular XLS are not XML-y,
Neil wants in.
are they?
to my knowledge.
Are they not?
I mean, when's in?
I feel like they'd have to be. Like oh man, I've done so much. I never run into XLS.
Right.
But when
2007 and
open
before, I think.
Office XML.
How am I supposed to let you in? I mean, if you're not in a voice channel, I can't pull you in.
XLS goes before XML? Is that possible.
Yeah, so like when Office documents changed to the extension X, that's when it started using this XML packaging formula. Is that what I want to call
Okay.
it? To my knowledge, I could be wrong. Maybe the original format was always that. I just didn't know how to read it. But I thought it was serialized bytes.
I think the standard was 2006
Yeah, 2006.
for
something.
Office Open. But I know like XML is essentially the 90s,
Oh, Max, man.
maybe 80s.
Did I miss any of these? I did. I missed a follow from Gentinius. Thank you so much for that follow 7 hours ago. I mean, minutes ago. And Zerk00 or Zerku. Yes, there were spreadsheets in the 20th century. Cubase, anyone? Or not Cubase. Is it Cubase? I think it was called
Notice
Cubase.
1, 2, 3.
Cubase.
Yeah, I'm gonna just like, yeah.
Excel binary file format. Oh.
That was like an antitrust thing when Open Office was. People were saying they were going to use.
That sounded right.
And Google's kind of an actual competition to Microsoft Office, but anyway.
Okay. I might be a qualified person on this. Outside of Excel, there's nothing in Office. Like Excel
Excel is all of Office.
Yeah, I mean there's no reason to like pay for it. I mean there's no reason to pay for Office outside of Excel. That being
Where
said,
would one lion write his books?
Exactly. Wait, that's not where I'm writing my book.
Exactly. See, I mean, there's LibreOffice. Like, there are all the other Office things, and they all do what you need them to do. But Excel just has its. Excel has a stronghold, and I hate it because Google's Sheets has a SQL-esque function that is beautiful to use.
Oh yeah.
It's just called query.
Yeah. But I mean, so does Excel. But yes. Google Sheets has a lot of really, really cool functionality.
And then I found out that like Python and JavaScript have been in the open source versions for years, and going to be looking into those sometime soon. I spend my life looking at spreadsheets. But developing for spreadsheets.
I did for like 15 years straight. I did everything with Access and Excel.
Oof.
Everything. Including making full-scale applications that are multi-user.
What were you using? Just like
Forms?
VBA?
Yep, VBA and Forms.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it was
I'm
terrible.
sorry.
But it was actually pretty, I'm going to use this term. It was actually pretty elegant. They weren't like, when I was first starting off with them, they were super janky. They were very like, I wanted to be hip and use all of the animation type stuff that I seen in websites, because websites were awesome in the 2000s. Oh man, they were great. So I wanted to bring that to Access. And I found really clever solutions for making animations happen in Forms, Access Forms.
Oh no.
Yeah. But it was clean. Like, it didn't interrupt the cursor. It didn't interrupt your input.
Did you call it formation?
No, I did not. I should have, though.
EOS, an important question. Did you support dark mode?
The important one. It had a color scheme that was not light mode, but it wasn't dark mode either.
Yeah, that's not bonus points. All right.
No.
Did you use bound forms or unbound forms?
Bound. Well, both. I mean, like, some of them were just put stuff in here and then send the data to another form. And some of them were display data from some query result or whatever. Remember, it
Data
was human
grids.
resources, so we had lots of data to display and search. Oh, but this was amazing. VisiCalc. I want this. Where do I buy?
This is fascinating.
It's like boomers talking about the war.
You remember back in 1996
I
when
see
the internet was
Neo's
just coming
message
out?
about Excel being able to replace a lot of things. I want to
It's the
disagree.
best database. That's what you're about to say. I know, Mojo.
It can't replace
Stop it.
you.
Aww.
Stop it. Don't. I see so many. Yeah.
You're cutting yourself off. Finish your thought.
No. So okay.
Oh,
so
no.
He's
my
trying to be
issue.
kind. He's trying to be kind.
My issue with Excel is like it gets abused, and like the issue that like the issue I discussed earlier with like just file sizes, right? They don't have that much data in there. What they're doing is they're selecting all and applying a style, and if you hit Control A and do that, it eats up
Oh yeah.
so much space. Like
Oh, yeah.
megabytes in Excel really don't happen. Shouldn't happen. But people do it, and it's
Let me see. Okay. We'll show a thing.
They do it just to annoy you. Just
Yeah. I'm not super comfortable showing this on stream, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Well, don't do it.
Too bad. Story bits. Story bits. Storying. This is one of the sources that I'm trying to feed to this thing, and that's why it was giving me you can't submit more than 5,461 embeddings at a time, because I'm trying to feed it all of the information that I've accumulated over the years. I'm going to maybe
I see spreadsheets.
yeah, go to
I've got them open on my screen because I'm trying to work with them. Got a grade for decimals.
to here. This is the easy one. So some examples of races that might exist, and this is all inspired by the Lineage 2 world.
Database.
But the thing that I wanted to show was this is how many tabs I have.
Oh
It's
wow.
a little bit
that's
cut
a lot
off
of
by your
tabs.
slider, but I see.
Oh, yeah.
I see.
It's actually a little bit fuzzy for me too, which is even perfect. So that's
If
great.
you can
That's a lot
right
of
click
tabs.
that the ellipsis on the left. And I think it should. Yeah.
That's a lot of tabs.
If you need Excel tips and tricks, just ask me any day of the week.
I will.
I have lots of them too, but I didn't know that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna just have you do this other thing.
Oh, yeah, this thing
TypeScript
is
in
only
Excel.
117 kilobytes. But yeah,
I don't
TypeScript in
see-
Excel.
Yes. You need to activate the automate tab. It's not under developer.
Okay.
I don't like how there's now automate and developer as two separate things.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Because I think it's in the desktop version live. Is it not
I
there?
don't
No.
see it.
What happened to the search bar in Office? Forget it. Like
This
search
thing?
for commands.
Oh,
Command palette type thing.
yeah. You could probably press Control Q and see if that
Oh, okay.
pulls up. Oh wait, it's not Control
Nope,
Q.
not in
I lied to
Excel.
you. I lied to you. Yeah. Wait, Control W.
That's
No,
right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you gotta keep on. This is your life mission now. You gotta
Oh.
keep-
So no, I
Okay,
don't
that was
have
the
it.
perfect
This is
use of the mode.
Microsoft 365.
No, it should
whatever
be.
you told me.
It's on. So it came to the web version first. Maybe it's a registry change to get into the preview version of Excel. So I'm not.
Yeah, like
I won't do that to you.
I don't even have Copilot for Microsoft 365, even though I'm in Insider Preview.
Is this data malformed?
Yes, all of it is. No, most of it is pretty structured as far as these go.
Over the weekend,
This
I
one's-
experienced data models and Power Pivots and Power Queries because I was trying to do something for this professor, and it was the closest I wanted to get to a database in Excel, but I was like, I just shouldn't be doing this.
Can you make an Excel clone with Word? Maybe. Like, I'm
mean-
sure you could find some way to use regular tables in Word and macros. I mean, you can
like
do
where this is
everything with
going.
VBA. You can.
No, so that's what I was trying to. That's what I was really trying to get to. Is like you don't even have to touch VBA anymore with
Oh.
TypeScript, because TypeScript goes into their Power Automate side of things and Power Pages and all of that. And too many people in the Excel subreddit.
Can you just like pull the data out and like write a program in like C# or something? Are they still? I shouldn't even.
That's what we
you
do
know
at
what?
work.
We're out of time. Clearly, can't.
We
That's
are
what
at
I do at
time.
work.
Office
Wait,
applications. I'm just curious. I don't know. I shouldn't be curious though. I don't want to know the answer. If you know what I'm saying. I already know too many bad things.
no, you absolutely can. What do you want to do? I'll make it right now.
I'll make it right now.
I'll start my stream.
All right, can't wait. We're gonna. I don't know. I can't even make a joke about it. It just makes me. It reminds me of what
The
was.
OpenXML SDK is what you need.
Okay, that is good to know.
That's where you can
Know it.
start.
And that's like Yale's core business or whatever, so that's fine. And it is 1:30. Or
Yeah.
whatever my time is. It's 1:30 everywhere in the world.
It is stream end time,
Yeah.
is what he's trying to say. I gotta get back to work. But it has been really nice having y'all. I want to give you all an opportunity to give me the last words, because it's gonna be your last words ever. So Mojo,
Yeah. Don't
daily stand.
use Excel as a database.
Lies. He's lying to you, guys. Don't listen to him. The views and opinions expressed by the guest are their own and not necessarily the views and opinions of this channel.
My last words are do use Excel. And my last words were after his last words. What is he gonna do? What can he
Nothing.
do? Nothing. All right, I'm out.
Keep on keeping.
Yes. Truck away. Wait, what? All right. So thank you guys for joining our chat. I am now going to do all of the signing off stuff. It was a lot of fun. I don't even know who I'm lurking on, because usually I have too many other windows in the way to even see my lurk. I do hope we get to do this again someday. I'm not lurking on anyone's stream. I am a bad person. Who is currently streaming? Too many windows. I don't even have Twitch open. Simple. I don't think, well, maybe we've rated Simple recently. I don't know, but I like watching Simple. I'm going to be lurking on his channel. So, back to chat. Back to everyone. Thank you all for being here. Oh, even Dugasoft recommended Simple. Nice. Thank you for being here. It was a fantastically fun community day. I really appreciate our guests, Amanita and Peter, and Lacey was in there, but that's just because they didn't want to listen to the music, which is completely okay. The tailored music that I absolutely love. And Mojo, thank you all for being there, for providing really, really interesting conversation. I will be back again on Monday with a regular stream where we will continue on with getting the dismiss button that I added shortly, like not even paying attention to that because I was listening to chat, listening to the conversations. But we'll get the dismiss button for the calculator to work while still allowing the drag ability to stay working. I'll post the recording of this video to YouTube no sooner than 24 hours after I end the stream. And we're going to set up a raid to Simple Game Dev. If you guys don't know Simple Game Dev, he's creating a game called Artificial and the prequel to it, which I think he's calling Prologue at the moment, but I think he wants to rename it. But anyway, where it like Artificial is one storyline, Prologue is going to be like the free pre-game thing that gets you wanting to try artificial or buy artificial, I guess. And you play the role of an alien life form, and it's really cool stuff. So I love the way his game looks. He's a really cool person, and yeah, if you're not into game dev, you don't have to stay on for the raid, but if you're into really cool people, then definitely stay and hang out with us. And we will head over to Alejandro. I'm gonna call him Alejandro. Okay, that's it for me for now. Join us on Discord if you feel like it. We'll be here. Thanks for being here. Ciao for now.